What's up, guys? Long time no talk. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel. Pardon my ridiculous sunglasses here. I felt like being a little absurd today, so I thought I'd throw on the old yellow shades and take a stroll with you. So, being that we are close to the new year here, obviously it's time for New Year's resolutions, life improvement, personal development goals to kick back in after our little indulgences of the holiday. And I wanted to kind of share with you, I felt compelled, guided, really this is an odd place to start with kind of revitalizing my channel, but I was compelled to share with you a perspective on meditation that you may not have considered. So if you're somebody who struggles with meditation or feels like you should, but you feel like you suck at it or you're failing at it, or you don't even know why exactly, hopefully I can kind of contextualize that a bit for you and help you to kind of see it in a new light. So let's go ahead and talk about it a bit. So this first video that I'm filming here right now for you is a bit of an odd choice considering the direction my channel is about to go in. See, I've pretty much taken the second half of 2020, the year of everybody's greatest dreams, to really double down on learning much more about hypnosis and how to apply that to psychedelic therapy. So I've been learning a lot about how to coach for people who are microdosing, how to coach for integration purposes, how to help people really get some amazing results using psychedelics in combination with self-hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And it's really what I'm going to be talking about, really this general conversation of personal development and psychedelics and the intersection between the two. How do we apply the experiences we have? How do we apply the positive kind of brain changes, the neuroplasticity, just understanding more about what the heck is going on when we take psychedelics, and how we can leverage all of that for lasting positive change in our lives is something that I'll be talking about a lot on this channel. It's really where I started and I kind of veered away from because I kind of had all these different ideas of what I want to do with my business, but I'm honing it in, dialing it into this much more focused message about psychedelics and anxiety, psychedelics and depression, psychedelics and personal growth, how to do this healing work for yourself if this is something you want to take up for yourself, how to best leverage it, mistakes along the way, and just kind of points or talking points or points of contention or interest that tend to come up when we talk about these topics, because there's so many facets to this kind of intersection between psychedelics and personal development, which are two of my areas of passion, in case you can't tell. So we'll be talking a lot more about that. And that being the case, me talking about meditation might seem like a little bit of a tangent kind of to that, but it actually applies pretty directly. So let's just get into the topic here and really clarify what it is. It's the funniest thing. I really feel like nobody tells you, what the kind of fundamental purpose for meditation is. And maybe this was implicit back in the day. Maybe in Asian cultures, this is implicit where, meditation comes from. But it's something that I think most people are missing. It's like a crucial, basic piece of understanding about meditation that most people are missing when they try to take up a meditation practice, and they get these kind of misguided notions that, the point is to empty your mind or clear your mind out or to have no thoughts at all. And then get discouraged when, shocker, the first time you ever try to quiet your mind after having a noisy mind your whole life, it's really hard, and unless you're exceptionally gifted at this particular skill, it's going to be very difficult for you. So obviously for most people, when they hear about these benefits and they hear, oh, I should meditate, it's going to be good for me, it's positive in all these different ways, it's great for anxiety, it's great for depression, and then you try and then you fail, it's very demotivating. So here's what I want you to know. This is what I want you to really consider and think about: why you're meditating. Why the fuck do we meditate? The reason is you want to prove to yourself, specifically you want to prove to your conscious mind, that your thoughts It's not that they're not yours. You could say your thoughts are not yours, but I think the more accurate way to put it is that your thoughts are on autopilot. That you're thinking, and that all the thoughts that bubble up in your head throughout the day, most of which is just your brain habituated to thinking and spitting out ideas. They're not yours, they're not immediate, they're not authentic, they're not considered, they're not deeply weighed and evaluated, they're not nuanced, they're automatic. Now, why is this valuable? Why is this important? Well, if you think about improving anxiety, you think about improving depression, you think about emotional mental health, obviously it's going to be useful to you to start to be able to distinguish that the thoughts that occur in your head are just happening. They're not yours. And so if you're having, self-destructive thoughts or negative self-critical thoughts, or you're having thoughts that kind of ramp up and escalate your depression, or you're having thoughts that create hopelessness or fear or worry or anxiety or anything like that, create a negative effect for you, it's really useful to start to recognize, oh, I'm having these automatic things that happen through my brain, through my thinking unit, that, we're conditioned in, that are just automatic, that just spit out and just kind of babble out of my brain to my conscious awareness, but they're not mine. I don't mean them. I'm not trying to generate them. So maybe I shouldn't take them so seriously when they're causing me some sort of emotional distress or escalating some sort of, mental health issue. And this is so important. This is so useful. And the thing is, most of us, maybe as a concept are aware that we have an unconscious mind and a conscious mind, but don't really believe it. We don't really trust that. We're skeptical of that, right? Even those of us who are versed in psychology, well-versed in psychedelics, even still, most of us, the unconscious mind can seem like such a abstract concept with very little proof that a lot of times we go through our whole lives thinking we are our conscious minds, which is maybe 10% of you at most, if not less. And so we go around thinking that we are our conscious minds, and that this is, and the thoughts that move through my head are me. We confuse ourselves with our thinking. But then when you intentionally sit down and try to silence your mind and just sit and decide not to actively think anything, what happens? Your mind starts spitting out gobbledygook, ideas, concepts. It starts ruminating about the dumbest shit, right? And so if that isn't proof, that you are not your mind, I don't know what is. And so by creating this proof, and really you need a lot of it, because we're so conditioned, we're so kind of deeply indoctrinated into the idea that we are our conscious minds and that our conscious minds are rational and logical. It's just implicit in our culture that it takes a lot of sitting and repeating this experiment to really prove to yourself, oh, right, these thoughts happen automatically. And I can take them seriously, but I don't have to take them seriously. And I can identify with them, but I don't have to identify with them. And as you start to create that separation, that distinction between self and thought, all of a sudden you have some freedom. You have some choice over whether or not you want to agree with and identify with each thought as it bubbles up through you. And that gives you some leverage to start to change. But if you're confused about self and thought, and you can't really pull those apart, then what happens is you're on the ride. Whatever your brain's programmed up to think, which mostly happened before you were 5, you're on the ride of. And that's it. And that sucks. It's not fun to just be writing on the conditioning of your childhood, because what does a childhood brain really know? Anyways, I got a little bit of a rant there, as I tend to do. Get all excited, get all caught up in what it is I want to communicate. Passion. Anyways, yeah, so I just want to kind of give you that point to think about. So if you're thinking about taking up meditation as something as a self-healing, self-care practice, I'd strongly recommend that you do. Strongly encourage you to do it. It's so good for you. And the more you do it, it does get easier, and it does get more likely that your thoughts will subside and settle in. For me, it's, I've been meditating for 25 years, and it's usually about 12 minutes into it before I hit the sweet spot, at least, if not longer. Depends on what's going on. And, doing that every day starts to show you the way that the mind has these kind of patterns of, difficulty and ease through different seasons, through different, how'd you sleep, how'd you eat, what's going on, these other variables of your life that impact your mind, and you get a really good sense of that. But the fundamental reason is just to prove to yourself so that for fact that you are not your thoughts, so you can start to really separate out identity and who you are from the thoughts you're thinking. So I just want to kind of give you that because meditation gets maligned, people give up on it, or people become perfectionistic about it, which is ridiculous, especially when you're new. And really, it's just a great tool to start to get that clarity about who you are, about what thoughts actually are, so that you can start to relate to them in a much more pragmatic, realistic, grounded kind of way, where you're not caught up in them and you're not letting your thinking dictate your sense of self. So anyways, that's it. Short little video. I've got a lot more content on the way. I've got so much about psychedelics, personal growth, personal development, microdosing, self-coaching, macrodosing, integration work. I've got so much to share. It's like I've got courses coming out. I've got so much on the way, but just want to share that with you for now. Let me know what you think. Much love.